It's another interesting episode of Space and Style, a television show designed to provide realistic solutions for all your real estate needs by providing you with trends, tips, and also the engaging experts to discuss topical issues affecting the industry. My name is Olamide Unifade, as you know, and on the show today, we are going to continue our discussion on how to avert structural defects in building, a topic we commenced last week. Also on the show, we are also going to share some interior design tips to keep you abreast of various trends in the interior design space. And on the property of the week segment, of course, we're going to showcase a beautiful property that we hope inspires you to join the real estate ladder if you have not done so. And lastly, the artisan spot, where we'll be talking to an artisan on his craftsmanship. Sit back and enjoy the show. Now, welcome to the Expert Insight, and I have with me again this week Engineer Adewale Adeyemo to continue the discussion on averting structural failures in buildings. Engineer Adewale Adeyemo is a civil structural engineer with Sample Engineering Services. With over 16 years of practice, he is a member of the National Institute of Structural Engineers, Nigeria Institute of Civil Engineers, and the Council for the Regulation of Engineering in Nigeria, COREN. He has designed over 30 various projects and still counting. Thank you for joining us again.
Particular span for you to enjoy your building.
Okay.
If things were done in the normal and in the proper way. If you have a new construction, there is a last span for it. So after a certain period of time, it's passed up to a defective stage, okay, in which you will have used the good part of the house, of the building, or of the property. Like a newly constructed building, you have like 40 years. 40? 40 years.
Not 70, not 100.
No, we have 40 years. But the reason why it's 1700, it depends on the material. So materials, like your foundation alone, adds like 100 years for you to enjoy the foundation before it started giving you one issue or the other, if things were done in a proper way. But if things were not done in a proper way, within the next 2.5 years or 5 years, you started noticing some defects. But if things were done in a proper way, at least you have like 40 years span of a building. Okay,
I went to a particular building and I looked up, actually my family house, my family friend's house, and I looked up and I saw that the ceiling was coming down. I could see the steel passing that passes through the the ceiling. I could see it. So is that a major or a minor defect?
For you to see the ceiling you're talking about, that is suspended ceiling.
Yes.
So what's the component of the ceiling? Is it plastic?
No, it's brick.
Okay, it's brick.
Cement, yes.
If we were to be brick, we can still categorize this as a minor.
Okay.
Because it's more or less is an aesthetics. Okay. It's not a major structural element. Structural engineers deal with structural elements. The elements are the foundations, the columns, the beams, and the slab. So we can still take that one as a minor defect, in which can be rectified, whether occupants are occupying the building or occupants are not occupying the building. So I'll take it as a minor defect.
Okay. So, you know, there are some times that you abandon a property.
Yes.
Maybe intentionally, non-intentionally. There will probably some people who are not in the country, the property is locked up. Why is it that it deteriorates on time? What's responsible for that?
Well, actually, let me answer the question in a normal scientific or in normal civilized environment, as a structural engineer. What we understand is, you know, when you have your building, there is inflow and outflow. The inflow and outflow in the sense that there's occupants, there's living things, and there's non-living things. Living things in the sense that there's occupants using the building. Non-living things in the sense that there's air, ventilations mixing together, blowing here and there. So when there's no occupants in the building, what simply deteriorates the building when not in use is humidity.
Okay.
It's humidity. Because there's no ventilation, no carbon dioxide going in from human beings, no oxygen. So it's more or less as humidity comes into play. So the humidity affects the finishings of the building, in which you started noticing dampiness. When you started noticing dampiness, the whole building started becoming weakening. And when they are weakening, you are signaling to defects. And when there's nobody occupying the building and the building are weakening, definitely that is building collapse. So scientifically, we say humidity. It's humidity. Humidity in the sense that there is no free flow of oxygen, from the living things and the non-living things.
Okay.
Yeah, that's also
because I would have thought that when a house is occupied, it should extend the lifespan.
Yeah, of course, in a normal lane time, because nobody is using it.
Yes.
So there's no load, there's no movable. But so far your idea, the non-living things and the living things communicate together. That's why we have cross ventilation inside the house. You breathe in, you breathe out. That's what makes up the living component of an human being. Okay. So the building itself is a living thing. So
wow.
I'll simply say it's immediate.
We do not have enough time. I was going to take this topic, this question of the biggest issues you have in construction.
Yes.
However, we'll go for the break.
Okay.
When we come back,
thank you so much.
We'll take on that.
You're welcome.
Thank you for staying with us. We'll do for a break at the moment. Please stay with us. Thank you for staying with us, and we are still discussing averting structural defects in buildings. And I still have Engineer Adewale Adeyemo in the studio with me.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming again this week. So before we went for the break, I was talking about the biggest issues you have in construction in Nigeria. So can you take us through some?
Wow. It's a big question. The biggest issue we have in the construction industry is, from my own point of view, it's nothing more about it's a 1001 things. Even material can be a problem. Even imposition on clients on the consultant. Imposition of clients on the consultant. Okay, what I mean by imposition of clients on the consultant?
Yes.
You have assigned some people to do some due diligence work for you. But on the long run, you now get to be giving them some extra advices, trying to put in your own idea because when clients engage you in design, there is a back and forth. The back and forth is you go from the design, he checks it, this is what I want, this is what I want, this is what I want. So when that one is done and they move to site for the constructions, okay? So what I mean by imposition of clients on the consultants is simply, the client is the alpha and omega of the building.
Yeah.
So he briefed the architect, this is what I want, give me the design. But during the construction stage, you should allow them to do their own diligence when it comes to constructions. You have your ideas, but don't impose your ideas on them. Like, this is what I want, this is what I want, this I don't want, or maybe you want to add an additional floor.
Well, that's now comes to your own professional integrity.
Yes.
So in cases like that, what do you do? So
in cases like that, because initially, when we have a design from the architect, so we fall back, we ask the geotechnical engineers to help us to conduct what we call a soil test report. So the soil test report, we marry it with the architectural design for us to know, okay, this is the level of foundations. This is what we want to do. So, but peradventure, the building is a two-floor building. That is the ground floor and the first floor. So maybe after the first floor, we are about going to the roof, and the client was not saying, let me add it another floor.
No. What happens in cases like that?
So adding another floor is not in the questions when the architect was trying to do his own architectural drawing. Adding another floor is not in the structural engineer's design drawings. So peradventure, the soil. So when you had to add another floor, what are you not telling? What is simply telling on the soil is you are adding another load to the soil. Because initially the soil test engineer did his own report and passed it to the structural engineer. So
in case the client insists, what do you do?
In case the client insists, we have to let the clients know that initially, periodically during our design, this building is designed to be on the 2 floors because this is what the soil can carry.
And so I'm very interested in what happens at that stage. When you give the client your opinion and they don't take your opinion, what happens? Because this is a major issue that causes structural
defect,
collapses.
Yeah. So that, from my own point of view, from my own experience, I will write a letter I will issue a letter to him. I will issue a letter from our decks that this is the initial design, but you want to go towards this you want to go towards this particular level. I will confirm from the drawing, from the foundation, from the soil test engineering, whether they can receive it. If it cannot receive it, I will simply let the client know.
And if it goes on, what happens?
If it goes on, let him goes on by himself.
But you don't think it's something that you should report to the statutory bodies? Because you can't let clients get away with all of this, because at the end of the day, they compromise the lives of other people, not just their lives.
We understand. So
this should be as a matter of, it's a crime. I think it's a crime. Because lives are involved, properties are involved. So you can't just sweep it under the carpet that because it's a client. An illiterate can be a client that doesn't understand what you're talking about.
Because initially, right from day one, we have the people, we have this parastatal we call the Lagos State Physical Planning Authority.
Yes.
So the Physical Planning Authority, you submit all your documents to them, your drawings to them, they will look at your drawings. So once they look at your drawings, definitely they have already marked up your building that, okay, it's a 2 floor, it's ground floor and first floor. So your documentation bears ground floor and first floor. So if you want to add another floor to it, there's another body now comes in, we call it Lagos State Building Control Agency. But since you have already signed a document for ground floor and first floor, and they want to impose to put another floor to it, definitely there should be our regulatory bodies should be monitoring. There should be proper monitoring, because proper monitoring of the regulatory bodies.
So you're saying that they are also complicit in this?
Yes, there is. But when we have a proper monitoring system going here and there, checking what is existence with what we have in your documents. This is another issue. This is another defect when it comes to structural defects.
So these are part of what causes?
These are part of what causes.
Because that was my next line of question now.
Yes.
Apart from this, what are other things that can cause structural defects?
You know, workmanship. Workmanship in the sense that you are giving your job to someone that doesn't have the A to Z of what he's doing. Like a plastering, maybe ceramic tile laying work. Even the design. It might be catching when it comes to the paperwork, because paper buildings don't collapse. It is existing buildings that collapse. So the design too is another causes of structural defects. Even your your materials too.
So this problem of materials, substandard materials,
substandard products.
How can we navigate this in this country?
How can we navigate the use of poor substandard products?
Yes.
Number one, there should be a regulatory bodies that we call the Quality Control and Assurance.
What's the work of Standard Organization of Nigeria?
SAN. SON.
Yes.
Yes, fine. So every constructional materials, be it the water, be it your rebar, your reinforcement, be it your sand, be it your cement, there should be a document from the vendor. If a client wants to go and purchase any sand, let him ask for a document that back up, okay, this is the quality of the cement you are buying from me. Because in the due diligences on the construction site, the consultants have some tests on their own side to certify the materials. Like the ions, there's a test we call a tensile strength to test the quality of the ions against what the structural engineer has designed. And during the course of the project, the concreting work, there's what we call a slump test, just to check the quality of the concrete. Because quality of the concrete helps in making the building to undergo its lifespan. But if you are using a poorly rated quality control, as a poorly rated concrete, it helps, it's a defect on its own. So it's the 1001 things. We have 1001
Wow.
defects.
Thank you very much.
You're
We
welcome.
barely have enough time, but just to conclude.
Yes. No
And
problem.
I mean, I would want it to be short, your
Okay, no
response.
problem. Yeah.
What's the relationship between architects and structural engineers? I've heard there are always issues on site.
Yeah.
Who has security? Who's responsible for the whole project?
Who has the full autonomy?
Yes.
In a building site, is an architect.
Okay.
Because he's the initiator of the building. He has the aesthetics. But a civil engineer is the skeleton of the aesthetics of the building. What I mean by that is the civil engineer understands, like our physical body, it is the skeleton that is picking the body. You understand? So in a building site, I will go with an architect because they are the initiator.
Okay, so they are your bosses on site.
They are the bosses on site. But when it comes to the stability, when it comes to the integrity of the building, when it comes to the integrity, is a civil engineer.
Okay.
But
all right.
So
Thank you
so
very much,
You're welcome.
Engineer Adewale Adeyemo. Are you a prince?
Actually, I'm a prince. I'm from Ogumosho.
Okay. Thank you so much for coming, and I
welcome.
hope you come again.
Thank you so much.
I really had an insight into what structural
welcome.
defect and all that is.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. We've come to the end of the segment, and I hope you enjoyed the discussion. Watch out for next week. We're also going to have huge and beautiful conversations again. Next is the design tip of the week. Welcome to the interior design segment, where we talk about spaces and decor and how to transform the lovely spaces. And with me today is the delectable and beautiful Edna. Thank you, Edna, for coming again.
Thank you so much. Okay, I love today's topic. It's talking about home decor trend 2021. I very much love this topic because I love trends, and there are a lot of things that are trending this 2021. Even due to the COVID, a lot has changed.
Oh, really?
Yes, a lot of things have changed. Like for instance, the #1 trend on my list is home office. After the COVID, people started realizing that you need to have an office in your home. So those are the new trends. Even gyms, having a gym in your apartment, it's a new trend. Then flowers, I have one here.
I was going to say that.
Yeah, like it's a new trend. It has been there before, but these days, a lot of people want to infuse flowers, plants into their space, their offices, their homes, their store. I feel like it is here to stay, and we are loving the vibes it gives.
Okay, so my question is, which is better,
Okay.
the live ones or the artificial ones? Because
Okay,
I see a lot of
okay.
artificial ones.
There have been a lot of arguments when it comes to artificial and live plants. For some interior designers, they feel like live plants is the best, but maintaining live plants is not easy. I can tell you for a fact. Maintaining live plants is so not easy, and you're not sure when they are going to leave. They can die at any time if you're not taking care of them properly. So for me, I always advise artificial plants because they can last you for a very long time, and it is economical. But when it comes to plants has a lot of benefits. When it comes to your health, your living, I'm talking about living plants. Living plants just tend to make you rest better. You breathe better in your space.
Oxygen.
The oxygen. It's also very, it has this healing effects when it's in your space. So, but all that, you don't get to feel it in artificial plants. But for aesthetics, I'm going to choose artificial plants because they are economical. They're not going to die tomorrow. So another thing that we have in our trend is pampas grass. They are dried grass. They are new trends. They were not there like that before. And people are loving them. We are loving them. We've used it in a lot of space. And it's a wonderful thing to have them in your space. Then another trend, smart homes. I have clients that request for smart homes, but they really do not know what smart home means. When you talk about smart homes, you talk about automated curtain, automated blinds. You can be in your office, and yet you're controlling everything in your house. How convenient. Like, it is really amazing to have smart homes, but they are quite pricey. Smart homes are pricey, but they've they're here to stay. It's very convenient. You can be anywhere and you're controlling your TV. You can see what is happening in your space. So that's a very new trend. Then dark colors. Dark colors are also very trendy when used properly. So you cannot just throw in dark colors if you don't know what you're doing.
Okay, so I was going to add to what you were talking about smart homes.
Okay.
Security is also very important, and it's done a lot when it comes to security. Yeah, so what about accessories? What are the accessories that have come to stay?
Okay, accessories that have come to stay. We have diffusers.
Yes, I've been seeing a lot of
your house needs to smell fresh. So other than it has to smell fresh, for aesthetics, diffuser is your go-to things when it comes to accessories. We also have like books, even though we're not reading them, they're like artificial books. Yes. But for the aesthetics part of it, they are really very nice when you have them. I also mentioned pampas grass. You also need vets for all these grasses and plants. So these are new trends that I feel like they are here to stay because they are very lovely and they are very affordable too. Even flowers. Not plants, plants is different from flowers. Think about flowers, especially in some stores these days. You have lots of flowers, the rose, you name it. There are lots of flowers that are very trendy. I, for one, thought that they were going to leave 2020, but they are here and they are going nowhere. So those are the trends that I have. Another thing that is trending is the blush pink. You know, we spoke about blush pink in that segment. It's really welcoming color. People are embracing it. It has nothing to do with being a male or a female. Even, yes, like anybody can use blush pink. It's kind of like nude, but you need to know the difference. Like, it's really a very trendy color, and it is really very yummy and cute. Yummy. Yeah.
Thank you so much for
coming around. Thank you so much. Thank you very much. All right, thanks.
Space and Style.
Thank you for staying with us. On the last segment of the show today is the favorite artisan spot, where we are talking to another fantastic artisan to take us through his craftsmanship.
Actually, pé kí nǹkan wá nǹkan ṣe ni pé a fẹ́ báyàn máa tajà náà ni mí náà ń báyàn tajà gẹ́gẹ́ bí ọmọọṣẹ́. So láti bẹ̀ mo ti rí pé ọ̀nà tèmi náà lè ṣe lélẹ́yìí mo dẹ̀ fojú sí. I spent like 15 years lọ́dọ̀ ọ̀gá tí èmi náà wà kó tó di pé mi náà dómìnira ti tèmi náà. Actually ẹni tó bá lówó ó lè tà àmọ́ ó gbọ́dọ̀ train nípa ẹ̀, ó gbọ́dọ̀ mọ̀ nípa ẹ̀, torí pé bí situation Nàìjíríà ṣe rí nsìn, tí o bá ní o kówó lórí ọjà kan tó mọ̀ nípa ẹ̀, bóyá kíní ẹ̀ ti fall nínú market nsìn ò mọ̀, tí wọ́n kàn lọ rà, tí wọ́n bá fẹ́ ta tiẹ̀ nsìn wàá tà ní bad price ni, àfi kó mọ̀ nípa ẹ̀. So bó ṣe ń lọ wàá mọ̀ quality wàá mọ̀ quantity, pé tí n bá rà tó báyìí iye báyìí náà lè dí mi lórí ẹ̀, tó o bá ti mọ̀ nípa ẹ̀ o lè ṣe, àfi kó train nípa ẹ̀. It's all imported. Local wa náà wà but kò tí ì pọ̀ ń ta bí imported. The same thing even tá bá ní ká tún fojú wò nsìn ní local one títí wa gan ó yìí fẹ́ stand ju foreign lọ, but kò ń ṣe nǹkan tí tó wà famous táwọn èèyàn ti mọ̀ lọ́pọ̀lọpọ̀. Àwọn èèyàn ń fi ojú pé local títí wa náà fi ń wò. Tó bá ká wo how long durability rẹ̀ bó ṣe long sí, tiwa gan yìí tún ní àlàáfíà ju ti foreign one lọ. Fún àwọn táǹtà ń sìn àti wádìí lọ́wọ́ àwọn tó ń lò, wọ́n ti sọ fún wa, even ẹlòmíì tó mọ̀ ọ́nù wọn máa ń request ẹ̀ pé nírú eléyìí o nǹkan báyìí ni kò bá mi wá, thickness ẹ̀ ó ju ti foreign lọ, torí ní foreign yẹn àwọn náà máa fún wọn ní measurement nǹkan táwọn fẹ́ látọ̀hún yẹn wá, but ti local ti wá ń sìn kó size tí a ti ń lò láti pẹ́tipẹ́ làwọn yẹn sì ń ṣe, àwọn náà kàn lè dídí ẹ̀ kú ń bẹ̀, so quality yẹn sì wà ń bẹ̀, bóyá heavy bóyá yìí strong sí. Challenge tá à ń dorúkọ ló ń bẹ̀ ń sìn ni pé bí situation countries rí ń sìn, torí pé tí a bá ra ọjà pé à ń tajà yìí ní 10,000 naira for instance ń sìn, ká tó ta ọjà tán ká tó dé ọjà wọ́n lè ní price ti increase, àwa dẹ̀ ti ta ní rate tí táwa rà, so ó máa ń jẹ́ ìṣòro fún wa láti pé nǹkan tá a ti tà ní low price a dẹ̀ dé market a tún bá ní high price. Always ni ọjà ń wọ́n nítorí pé ó ń fún wa nírọ̀wọ́ ẹ̀sìn ọkàn lórí ẹ̀, tó yẹ pé owó tá a ní lọ́wọ́ gan kò fẹ́ ká agbára iṣẹ́ tá à ń ṣe gangan mọ́ ń sìn. Àwọn pé bí technology ṣe wà ń sìn, ifun bó ṣe jẹ́ pé bí irú àwọn tó mo pè ní baby color tí yàn wá rí color yẹn, àwọn tó jẹ́ àwọn expert nínú dé àwọn furniture yìí wọ́n lè ra bí off white nsìn wọ́n gbé kalẹ̀ kàn sọ fún àwọn tó fẹ́ bá wọn spray pé nǹkan tá fẹ́ gbé kíkiní ìgbé jáde nìyẹn, ó máa gbé jáde mi fún bí irú plain color nìyẹn o, kò lè wọn lè rú àwọn tó jẹ́ design color ṣe. Kò ń ṣe pé mi ń ṣe pẹ̀lú ṣeré ní tí mo ń ṣe pẹ̀lú life mi tí mo fi ń tọ́ ìyàwó àtàwọn ọmọ mi tí wọ́n fi graduate tó wà ní university sí wà ń bẹ nísìnyí, so ní tí mo lè fi sọ́mọ lọ́wọ́ ni.
Space and style.
We have come to the end of the show this week and we have to wrap up, and we hope you have enjoyed yourself as I have, and also learned a thing or two about averting major structural defects in buildings. So join us next week for another interesting edition of Space and Style at the same time on the same channel. Bye for now.